are listening to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network. Listen in as Brent and Dave invite you to belly up to the bar with them to talk about everything in the world of sports, just like you would do at your favorite watering hole. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so belly up to the bar with us, grab a beverage, and let's get into it.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer sports, talking a whole lot more. Episode 296 is April 20th, 2023. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caldera Labs and calderalab.com. Use promo code 1420lab at calderalab.com and get some men's skincare products today and keep that youthful exuberance in your mug all year long. Dave,
happy 420, Brent.
Oh, I was going to get to that in a second. Happy 420. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast and 420 are different entities altogether. When I first came up with the idea of 1420, it was the COVID year of summer of 2020, and there was 4 beers sitting in front of me, and 4 times 355 is 1420. So I just ran with it. And then not thinking about the 420 thing, which I have dabbled with a long time ago. So 420 and 1420 aren't necessarily associated, but we don't besmirch on the 420. Dave, did you have yourself a 420 day today?
I was planning on it, but then the wife had to leave, and so Boy and I had supper together, and then I had a couple little housekeeping things to do before logging on, and I completely forgot. As you said, April 20. I was like, fuck, I forgot to partake. I'll the next commercial break, I'll rectify.
I can't wait for the intelligence that'll come out of your yap after
that.
I'm kidding. I don't care.
It's like St. Patrick's Day for drinkers. It's a day for the amateurs, and I'm not an amateur. And so, but it would be something just as a tip of the hat to the day.
To the who's Bob Marley and the Thing of the World and everything. Actually, at 420 every day on Rock 105 in the Hat. I don't know if they do it here in Lethbridge, but they play a Bob Marley song every day at 420. Every single day.
The DJ must be a burner.
Might be. It's legal now, so whatever. That doesn't much matter. Dave, this morning I wake up, there's snow on the ground, think pets' heads are falling off, and then I tune into CNN, and Elon Musk and SpaceX are shooting rockets into the sky. The
biggest rocket ever.
Like, I'm just the biggest rocket effort ever, unmanned, thank God. It blew up, fell into the Gulf of Mexico. As I'm watching this, Dave, and I don't care what Musk does. I think he's a fucking idiot, but smarter than I am. He's obviously a trillionaire. But as I'm watching this go on, it's all for getting the manned rocket to the moon is what they're trying to do. And apparently they've already sold tickets. I think they're going to try the moon first and then get to Mars.
Oh, okay.
So the moon one's first. So anyways, this one went up 4 minutes in the sky, blew up, fell in the ocean. The more I watch these guys trying to go to the moon and the dick swinging contest that these guys have, the more that I think the actual moon landing didn't happen. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but there's a reason why they haven't been back there since. And these guys are spending how much money? The technology is way better than it was 50 years ago. I'm doubting that there was a moon landing. I'm actually 99% sure there was not a moon landing. I'm 99% sure.
You're an idiot. Oh, you and Kyrie, no, you're a fucking idiot. Like, it happened, right?
So why haven't they been back?
Because they're like, to what end? They've learned all they have to know. And then even with today's technology, the shit that they can learn from the moon, from being on the moon, they could probably do with, honestly, like lasers and stuff like that. You can shoot lasers. And see what shit about.
What is this? It's fucking awesome. Awesome fucking powers. Lasers.
Yes. Well, just like sonar or whatever the fuck, radio waves. Oh no, Like, you're smarter than that. You know that
I
happened.
think I am, and that's the thing. I am smarter than that. I think I am smarter than that. They haven't been.
Have you
I
ever
don't think
been in
they've
Houston?
ever been. I don't think they've
I've
ever
been to
been.
Houston. I've been to the Space Center, and I've seen the rockets. I've seen the capsules. I've seen the moon rockets. I've seen shit that has been on the moon. I believe it.
But
And if you
says
don't,
who?
well, like, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, it's true. It's not. It's true. It's not. I don't fucking
I
know.
don't know
I
either.
believe it.
But Dave, all I'm saying is back then the technology was a lot less than we've ever had.
Correct.
And then now that we can't even get fucking 4 minutes into space and we're blowing these things up and fucking falling down, there's something fishy there.
Oh, stop it now. Like, this is the first, the biggest of its kind, and this is what Elon Musk does with those SpaceX. Like, failure is an option on these unmanned first time ever. Do you see the rockets, the reusable rockets that fucker makes now? Like, they
Oh,
land.
I don't know. I'm
Well,
just.
no. Oh, so you don't know about that? You don't know
I
about
don't, because
reusable
I don't pay
rockets
attention. I
that
just saw it
can
this
just
morning.
land on a fucking postage stamp, and after being in space and dropping satellites, they come back down and land on like a 20 by 20 meter by 20 meter postage stamp in the ocean.
I don't know.
That's how good this technology is.
I just have my doubts.
Okay. Well, no,
I just have my doubts.
99% sure is pretty doubtful, but we're not a conspiracy moon landing like next week. Whatever, you're going to tell me you're a flat earther.
Oh, I'm not
I
a
don't
flat
know what's
earther.
next.
I'm not a flat
Well,
earther. Eventually, you would just fall off if the Earth was flat.
Says who? Says who?
Well, I've always had my doubts, and this just kind of added to it about the moon landing. It's one of those things. Anyways, Dave, we'll get into some sports, and because no one's listening. The NHL playoffs got going tonight, or are still going on tonight. The Leafs are up 7-2. The Rangers are up 4-1 as we speak right now. What's crazy, David? And we talked about this I think it was a week and a half ago. That home ice advantage isn't really that much of a home ice advantage. The first round, the first night of each team, the road team won 6 out of 8 games, and they didn't look good in a lot of those situations, Dave. I think that the NHL there might be something that they might have a thing on their hands where if a team finishes ahead, they might have a situation where a team goes, can we defer the first 2 games at home because I'd rather start on the road?
You might think sometimes, right? It's ridiculous how much how many of the road teams won. Especially like big surprises. The Jets beat the Golden Showers, and Avalanche beat the Kraken.
Kraken beat the Avalanche.
Lost to the Kraken. Like, those are the big seeds losing to small seeds, and you know what? It happens, and game 2 is really gonna just show a lot more. The Oilers totally stepped on their dicks in game 1. They should be up 2-0 in this series. They played a fairly uninspired game last night. I did watch. It's funny. Got done all the family duties and everything. Logged on. Well, turned on the game, and Oilers are up 2-0. I turned it on the perfect time. 5 minutes later, it was 2-2, and it was like, well, fuck. I guess the word's out that we're divorced, and the Oilers don't want me watching. But I managed to stay awake long enough to see him take the lead, then fall asleep before the end of the game.
Well, I was the same way last night, Dave. I was watching we had a day yesterday, me and Deanna, and I was watching the Oilers game, and they were up 2-0, and all of a sudden it was 2-2. Fell asleep, woke up this morning, it's 4-2. But yeah, there's some that Draisaitl, he is something else in the playoffs, year in, year out. He is unbelievable. There's got to be some
wagon. Yeah.
Like, he's just a horse out there, and he just does what he wants out there. That Kings team is really good, and they're a little bit underrated. But there's got to be something a little bit wrong with McDavid right now, because he has the 1 point so far, and I would say to a man that Draisaitl is carrying that team a little bit through the first 2 games, and it's something else to watch how the NHL playoffs just go night in, night out. And and I was thinking about this earlier on today, that the teams that didn't make the playoffs, you actually realize how bad some of those teams must be, because these teams are playing now, they're They are all really, really good, and they are flying to a man. Like every team, you look at Boston, they're 1-1 with Florida. That ended up in 8th. You look at the Toronto game tonight with Tampa. You look at the Rangers and Jersey. All these teams, and that Minnesota. Dallas
Dallas.
series, those teams, those games, those teams are absolutely flying. The skill level is unbelievable. So, and you look at teams that didn't make the playoffs, how far they have to go to even have a fucking chance, man. It is such a, I don't want to say have and have nots, but there's teams that aren't in. They don't have any idea how far away they are, I don't think.
No, I agree. I would assume they do have an idea because everybody's been in the league and has played on other teams and have friends and on other teams, or the management has played on other teams that have licked the jar at least. It's a franchise kind of, once they have to decide what kind of franchise you're going to be. Like, do we want to make the playoffs or do we want to contend for the cup? Because there's two different things. There's
Huge.
it's two completely different things. Making the playoffs is nice. It's nice. But do we have a chance to win the cup here?
Making the playoffs can be a
That's,
huge mistake.
yeah, in the first round, anything can happen, chip in a chair. But so now you upset in the first round, you're out in the second. And that's the thing. And that's the Calgary Flames thing. That's been the Oilers thing for the past 6 years, right? Couple deeper runs, but at the end of the day, you now got a shittier draft pick and you're no closer to the Stanley Cup than you were a season ago. So you got your teams like that. We laugh at the Leafs because they're always out in the first round, but they're a team built to contend if they could ever win a fucking round. Boston, like, they've been a good team forever. The Avalanche, it took them a couple years, but now
They one off
there.
year there, and they got McCarr and the rest. Now the rest is history. They got a cup with I wouldn't say because of one guy, but he didn't hurt. He didn't hurt the cause
Right.
at all. That kid's a fucking stud, man.
Mm-hmm. They're so good, and Vegas now. Vegas is. Are they a contender? They got to the cup final that first year, and then they're licking the jar, but then they missed last year, and now we'll see if they're a pretender or not. Like, are they a team that's just happy making the playoffs? They say they want to win the cup, but you can't win a series you're not in, and Colorado has proven themselves to be real. And they're set up to be a really good fucking team for a couple years now.
Like you look at these games they're playing now. There's guys that are fighting, and the battles that are going on. It's like there was 2 fights in the Leafs game tonight, and there was just a fight happening in the Rangers Islanders game or Devils game tonight. And it seems like during the regular season, it almost doesn't matter because I think a lot of teams know, yeah, you have your fringe teams like the Flames who didn't make the playoffs, but the regular season is so much different than the playoffs. And this playoff time is when the big boys step up. And when the gritty teams step up, and when guys who have coaches and teams who have coaches or GMs, we talked about a few weeks ago, that when you have a guy like Joe Sakic on as your general manager, and you have a guy like Steve Eisman as your general manager, Craig Berube as your head coach, that these teams, and Gerard Gallant with the Rangers, I'm seeing him on TV, been around the league for a long time. Like, when it comes to when push comes to shove in the National Hockey League, and when push comes to shove in the playoffs, it seems like you need to have those grit grinders. You look at a guy like Corey Perry with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he's probably playing for nothing. Former Hart Trophy winner back with the Ducks, I think it was in 2012 or 13, doesn't much matter. It was a long time ago, but you need guys like that to win a championship, and hockey is one of those things. You need those grit grinder guys that
aren't afraid to get dirty.
Aren't afraid to get dirty. Because Perry got in a fight tonight. I think he's got 2 goals and 3 assists. Yeah, obviously Tampa scored 7 goals in the Leafs tonight, but man, oh man, you see a guy like Corey Perry who probably I'm assuming doesn't need to play hockey anymore. He's probably got enough money in the bank, but you know what? He loves it, and he has that drive to go out and win that you see you don't see it in other sports. I like to a man the hockey playoffs are just different. Maybe it's because Canadian bias that I have, but the NHL playoffs, especially the first round, man, these guys put the effort in like nobody's business.
The intensity just gets ratcheted, right? Like, so because now it's they have the 82 game season, but now this is now a 7 game series. Every game becomes like 2 weeks of NFL now, right? It's the importance of every game is ratcheted up to such a level that every shift matters. You can't take time off. You can't play the game of hockey at this intense level that they do for the Stanley Cup playoffs. You just can't. They'd be dead. Like there'd be the injured list would be longer than the active roster. Like, I don't know, but you know what I'm saying, right? You just can't be this dialed in and this intense and care this much for 82 games. Like, I'm not suggesting for a minute they don't care, but I am suggesting that
they can take a night off and here and there where whatever. Fuck, I had a bad night, or I'm not feeling very good, or whatever. It's crazy, Dave. Like you see, like the Rangers are going to be up 2-0 in their series. You have who is it? Carolina's up 2-0 in their series. When it's 2-0. It's 80. I think it's 85%. I read today that when you're up 2-0 in a series, you're done. As a fan, when do you go, fuck me, man? This ain't looking so good, because I'm a Leafs guy through and through, no matter what, and I was like, it looked really bad the other night, the way they got shit stomped tonight. There's no getting around that. And then I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. And once again, be out in the first round. I wasn't thinking a sweep, but hockey is such a roller coaster of emotions, no matter what, man. Because if you're up even 3-1, 4-1 in game 2, it can go sideways so quick. A shot off a goal, a guy's ass. This could happen. That can happen. When do you get a little bit nervous? If you were still an Oilers guy, or back when you were an Oilers guy, when did you go, oh, we're fucked?
It's all about game 3, I think. I remember that year before the strike. So was that 2002, 2003 when the Oilers lost to the Hurricanes? We weren't divorced yet. 2006. Yeah, sorry. Yes, it was after the strike.
4 was the Flames, 5 was the strike, 6 was the Oilers.
I remember talking to a buddy on the phone. Second round, the Oilers were playing San Jose Sharks, and San Jose was so fast. And then I go, we're fucked. There ain't no way we're beating these guys. And then I'll remember it for a long time. It was a hit. It was Rafi Torres doing one of those Scott Stevens hits on Morneau. Was that his name? The guy that played forever for the Sharks and finishes Marleau. That's it, Marleau. Just caught him with his head down and put him in the next week. And that changed the entire momentum of the series. And that hit allowed the Oilers to believe they can do it. And that team, I don't know how they did it, but
Chris Pronger.
Whatever. And then they would either I don't know if they would snort lines or something like that on the bench, but they would have like a 6-minute span where they would score 3 goals. Like it was
unbelievable. That 2006,
and then they would score goals in bunches. It was like Fernando Pisani and Morrow and Horkoff and
search off for Horkoff. And that team was fun, man. Like that team was so great. Mike Pekka on the bench, and like you take your shirt off, he's the hairiest bastard out there. And that team was unbelievable. And that the playoff hockey was it's so great to watch that. And that Oilers team, man, that I don't want to say captivated the nation, but man, there wasn't too many people who weren't Oilers fans back then. Like
it was exciting as hell. You had to watch, because honestly,
I was living in Vernon, BC at the time, and no matter what, like everywhere, like there are obviously Vancouver Canuck fans out there in BC, but to a man, there were people were cheering for those for that Oilers team. They were unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, you go take a piss, and
because Pronger took a penalty shot goal in the I wasn't against, I don't think it was against Carolina in the finals, but like those guys could do no wrong at one point, and it just how it rolled and rolled and rolled. It was unbelievable. Like it was crazy how because I think they played Detroit in the first round and found a way to, like it was unbelievable how they just found a way to win. It was
It was
unbelievable.
ridiculous. Yeah. And they weren't goaling teams. For fuck's sake, they had Rolison in that. So they could have had anybody in there. Like they were just they played a sound system. They had Pronger in the back at his absolute peak of his abilities. And they believed in each other. And honestly, it was like 6 minutes a game. They would score 3 goals. And
Yeah,
then
it was
take the
crazy.
wind out of the sails and they would do it. Like I don't know how they did it. And if Ty Conklin knew how to stop a beach ball, the Oilers would have had a surprise cup there in
If they would have
2006.
went with Juicy Markkinen instead of Ty
Yep.
Conklin that year,
Yep.
in that 25 minutes he had to play, the Oilers win a Stanley Cup in that year. It's crazy.
Agreed.
It's so crazy. The speaking of that, the Oilers they had a rough one on game one. They're blaming referees. It was a horseshit call. The officiating has. I've been watching a lot more games this year than I have been in past years. Down here in the Yankee Tavern North, the 1420 World Headquarters. The officiating has been, and I hate to. It's Thursday, so I'll be smirch. I hate to be smirch on officials because I kind of am one. But the refereeing in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far has been, for lack of a better term, fucking atrocious. Like fucking atrocious.
It's
Bad.
definitely been lacking, and I don't understand why. Is the moment too big for them? Maybe they needed game one to
no, there
over
were some
their
calls
jitters.
tonight just like, what the, that's not a penalty.
Yeah. And maybe that's the thing. Like I'm trying to think of a reason, because we're gonna bitch about officials no matter what the game, what the stakes are. But at this point in the season, NHL is the league where they take the best ones. It's not a union appointed gig like it is for Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So they put the best ones there. They put the ones there that they think are going to succeed and call a fair game. But then also, too, the league is always in their ear. We're going to call more penalties this year. We're going to do this more. And then they're trying to balance it up. I'm giving them a pass for the first 2 games here, 3 games. And let's see if it gets better, because like you say, I agree that the officiating has been not as good as we want to see, but it can't get worse.
I think it can, because buttholes get a little bit tighter, right? And I think it can get worse. And the thing that bothers me, you watch the Carolina Islanders game last night, how one team has 6 penalties, the other team has none. 6 is fine. 0 is that it's insane. It's absolutely insane to think that in a hockey game that one team did not have an infraction. It's actually impossible to do for there to be 6 power plays to 0. And then I watched some of the highlights after I watched the game, and you're like, how was that a penalty, and how that wasn't? Like, hockey's hard to officiate because the guys are going so fast. But man, oh man, Dave, these guys, they're blowing it. Like, they're absolutely blowing it. Yes, there's more replays. Yes, there's more cameras, and on and on and on. But man, you would hate to, and we talked about it. Remember, we had Tom O'Connor back on the show back, I think it was January. He said, don't leave it in the officials' hands then, right? Don't leave a game in the officials' hand. But hockey's kind of one of those games where you kind of depend on the officials to give you a power play once in a while.
Yeah, and it's not even that. Like, so even if your penalty kill is ticking, it's fucking up the lines, right? You got your penalty kill units out there a lot more, and then those guys are a little bit more tired come the second and third period, and it feeds into the flow of the game. You can't get any momentum going. Anytime you get some momentum going, all of a sudden you're shorthanded again. Like, you can play through it, but it becomes monumentally. It's like walking up a hill. Like, we can walk up a hill, but now, like, walking up a hill.
Do it again.
And then in 6-inch snow, and now we're doing it in a foot deep snow. It gets a lot harder. It gets a lot harder every single time.
No, it's been the hockey's been fantastic. It's been fast. It's been really, really like an unbelievable drama so far. Like it's the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs are the best, and then it kind of wanes off after that. And by the time it comes June when they're hoisting Lord Stanley's Cup, I don't really watch anymore. But man, oh man, you got some teams that are just flying. Like that Winnipeg team is they surprised the hell out of me on Tuesday night, and they're just taking the ice now against the Vegas Golden Knights. It was great to watch. Did you see that kid get the skate in the face?
I did. Like, holy, and then back on the ice an hour later after he got all stitched up.
Morgan Barron.
That'll leave a mark.
And then he got LeBron, or no, Kawhi's got a spray knee tonight, not doing this, can't play. Like, if I was an NBA coach,
NBA maintenance days in the fucking playoffs.
If I was an NBA coach or an owner or whatever the fuck, I would take a picture or a video or an iPad, a shot of Morgan Barron getting cross-checked in the back with his face going into the goalie skates. Larry Brissot of the Vegas Golden Knights, the goaltender. I would take that picture to NBA player, whoever. So you can't play, but this guy is. He makes 1/100th of what you do. Get out there and fucking play. Because this guy got 75 at least. They quit counting, actually. At least 75 stitches to his face. Was watching the puck go in the net was his biggest concern, and then when he realized he could see both out of both eyes, that's when he's okay. I'm fine. Was worried about the puck going in the net, and these fucking NBA guys are having fucking maintenance days in the playoffs.
And then came back
an hour later. Went to the coach. Went to Rick Bowness and said, "Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Put me in. I'm good. Yeah, good." He's probably hopped up on whatever, who knows, but it's a couple of Red Bulls and it's not. I'm ready to go. 75 stitches, ready to go. Didn't miss his shift only because he was getting stitched up. And these fucking NBA guys, I'm good.
I agree. And that's what makes hockey playoffs the best playoffs out there, because
it is the best.
They suck it up like no one else can. And that's, I don't know what NFL players go through. I think that has to be the next closest group of players that actually fights through injury to get on the field, get on the ice, and get ready for games. But NBA and baseball players, like a baseball player fucking has a hangnail and he can't pitch for 3 weeks.
The blister,
stuff like that. The blister or whatever. No one has stupider injuries than baseball players, right? What was it?
I would say that basketball players are ranking right up there.
Well, they don't have injuries. I need a maintenance day.
There was a guy I saw it this morning and I was watching.
Because street closes out again too, eh?
There's a guy, I can't remember who he plays for. He has a chest contusion. He can't play because he got injured during the game allegedly, and he was doing the jump up chest bump while he had a chest contusion. So a chest contusion.
I thought these guys wore actual kind of flak jackets under their jerseys too.
NBA players are fucking softer than fucking kids baby shit.
Oh yeah, you can wipe your ass with those guys. Softer than Charmin.
Because LeBron's out today, whatever. It's interesting to watch how these NHL playoffs are shaping up. I think there's something wrong with McDavid. He's for the season he had, and he only has the 1 point so far, maybe 2 in the Oilers for the Oilers. Or is it just the Kings are going, we are going to make sure that this guy isn't going to beat us. We're going to put all 5 guys in his back pocket and make sure he can't go anywhere. I've watched, I fell asleep last night in the third period, but the first 2 games, I've watched most of it. And it's crazy that the guy that usually dominates a game like that hasn't been able to do it. So maybe the Kings are we're not letting this one guy beat us.
I think that is it, because I was watching them when I was looking for the game watching the game yesterday. I was looking for 97 there, and there was always someone in his back pocket. And like, if we called bad reffing and what have you, I saw like 3-4 interference penalties he could have called, but you wouldn't call. Like, you wouldn't call this in a regular series. You would like in the regular season, you wouldn't call it normally because it's just guys getting in his way and slowing him down. Like, they're not letting him release. But that's what you got to do when you have to have, because if you're looking the other way for 1 second on one shift, guy's gone.
Seattle's up 2-0 on Colorado, but yeah, that's crazy. You talk about the shadowing thing, like how that happened. I remember this is 100 years ago now, Dave. But when I played in the Alberta League with Harry York was on our team, and he ended up playing in the National Hockey League for he had a cup of coffee there, and I think it was McMurray Oil Barons. They their way of stopping Harry York was to put a guy like literally beside him, like wherever he went, just put it in back, like back pocket, like a tin of Copenhagen, right beside him. I know it's a different brand of
and
hockey.
then back then they had a shepherd's hook on him at all times.
It's a different thing. So Harry actually ended up benefiting our team a little bit, because Harry just went and stood at center ice and just stood there. And then the guy that they put beside Harry stood beside Harry. So all of a sudden it was 4-on-4, picking it, 4-on-3, good go. So we actually won a few games. Harry didn't get any points, but it's one of those things how hockey's just so different. The playoffs are great. I think it's fantastic the way that they're rolling it. I'm more vested in this year for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I think they're going to keep going. Who wins? After we're on night 4 now, who do you got winning the whole thing? Like, it's going to change 14 times before we're all
No, I'm going to stick to it until I'm wrong. I'll say Oilers, Leafs in the finals. And this is what if we have any Ontario listeners, where the fuck do you guys get off booing your team on game 1 like that? You don't think they're nervous?
Game 1, it was period 1, man.
Yeah. Like, where do you get off? Like, that is garbage. You as fans, you're nervous as anybody. These kids want to try and win. You know it. That booing does not help.
I think the fans actually have more of vested interest than the players do.
That's possible. But does a boo there help?
What's worse, Dave? The booing of the Leafs off the ice after a game 1 loss, or Oilers fans throwing beer bottles on the ice after a game 1 loss, mad at the referee.
What's worse is booing them off the ice. The throwing shit on the ice was a really bad look.
That was a bad look.
And I'm not going to defend that for a millisecond. Don't worry, I'm not defending it. But I think booing your team, your already fragile ego, like we talked about it 2 weeks before the season ended. Like, if you're the Leafs, maybe you should tank a couple just so you don't have to play game 7 at home. No, and that's what I thought about when I heard the fans booing there at MSG. Not MSG, at Maple Leaf Gardens. Really? And now this is where you want to come back? Yeah. You want the boys to play in front of you booing pricks for game 7? How are they going to feel then? Oh, they're professionals. Well,
no, you're not. They're kids, man.
They're kids.
We'll end the segment in a second here, but no matter what, there's a great percentage of people in a building who are much, much older than the kids who are playing. Like, they're
for sure.
Like,
the average age of attendant
is over 30. Is over 30. The average age of a player is under 30 by a lot, right? And the players, they're new to the franchise. A lot of them they got traded or drafted or whatever, and they only have an 8-year window, I guess, to be a Leaf. Whereas some of these fans, they've been around for 30, 40, 50 years. And I get being upset, but I wouldn't boo personally. I wouldn't,
especially as a Leaf fan,
because you know what, like, okay, well, fuck this sucks. It's probably not their fault, and if maybe it's game 7, they're getting blown out 7-2, then maybe the boo birds come out. But game 1, don't be booing like that. That was weak. It was.
Yeah, I was, you know, like I say, my stance has softened on the Leafs. I still don't like them, but Jesus Christ, like the most fragile team in the last 15 years. And it seems like they're trying, and you boo them in game one for laying a stinker. I thought that
Oilers
was bad
fans look
form.
fucking bad. That looked bad. That was a bad
They
look.
were
Good.
mad at the ref, and I kind of get it.
Don't give up.
They were,
You know what? Then no, get mad at McDavid for getting no points. Then get mad at fucking the team for blowing a 2-goal lead twice. Two goal leads.
that's what they were mad at.
No, they were
And
mad at the ref. No, they were being a bunch of fucking Northern Albertan fucking chicken shit fucking assholes. What they were doing.
It's kind of on brand. You know, it is on brand. I'm not getting them. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, they were frustrated because their team pissed away a lead. They had that game totally in hand. They were in more control of that game than the game they won yesterday. Like Skinner looked, speaking of soft, holy pillowy.
Yeah, man. Like
those are two bad goals.
Bad goals that
would
made it 2-2, and like they're lucky to be 1-1 right now.
Really you got that right. Yeah. Yeah. Then that Kron Kreider Krufer, something kind of Russian name. He scored a soft goal to give him the lead.
Yeah.
So it turned out. But nonetheless, you know that the Oilers throwing shit on the ice was on brand. They were frustrated, and then those penalties in overtime, like those penalties.
It was not a penalty. It was not a penalty.
Yeah, and I get it, but just you just paid $12 for that fucking beer. Keep it in your hand.
And they probably had to open the beer stand back up because it was in overtime.
Yeah, is that how it works?
Sit there, drink it. I don't know.
I remember I'm sure Cats reopens when it's overtime or something like that.
There's not many places that do. I had something else in my head and I just forgot what it was. Must not have been that important. I don't know. It was really good. It was really
about the Leafs, about the Oilers throwing jerseys.
No, I wouldn't do that either. It was Oilers, Leafs. Oh, well, in the segment here, if the Oilers don't get to a final this year, not winning Stanley, because winning Stanley Cup's hard, but if the Oilers don't get to a Stanley Cup final this year, who has wasted their superstar's career more in the National Hockey League or Major League Baseball? Mike Trout, Connor McDavid. Who has wasted an all-time talent more? The Oilers or the Angels?
The Angels. At least McDavid's made some. They got robbed that one year against Anaheim when they had Kessler and like that. They got robbed that year. They should have been in the conference finals that year. Last year they had a decent run. They lost to Colorado to go to the Cup. So McDavid has two decent runs in him. Trout has nothing. So I think Trout's being wasted more than McDavid.
See how it all turns out in a month and a half from now, or a week from now, actually, when all these playoff first round get done, because it's crazy how these can all turn out. Like you look at this Colorado team who was Stanley Cup champions last year. Now they're down 2-0 in game 2, and then the Oilers they're 1-1, and you have the Leafs. You don't know what you're going to get there, and if they're going to get to the second round for the first time since 2004, it's going to be interesting to watch. But it's entertaining as hell to me. It's the first round of the National Hockey Playoffs, there's nothing quite like it.
There is nothing like it
every year.
And the series I would like, I was said, like this Rangers Devils series should be good. The Rangers just won games 1 and 2 in New Jersey,
and
it's not going to get easier for Jersey. Like they look a little
going to Madison Square Garden now. Yeah,
you bet. Yeah, Rangers look really good. They're making the Devils look bad. So, the Rangers have probably impressed me the most so far, but it's time to look out for them. And then also the best series, the most violent series has definitely been Minnesota Dallas. Yeah, they've developed a really good
hit on Pavelski. Holy fuck me, man! I'd be out for a month.
Yeah,
I would actually no. I'd be dead. I wouldn't get up. I just cover me up here, zamboning me off the ice. I'm good.
Dig the hole. Just roll me in.
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer sports talking a whole lot more. This segment brought to you by Caldera Lab and calderalab.com. Use promo code 1420lab at calderalab.com. Get 20% off your men's skincare products to keep that youthful exuberance in your mug all year long.
I would imagine they have a good cream for that kid from Winnipeg. Take care of those stitches.
They actually should. I should actually give them a call and say, hey, buy a bunch of this for get that scab off your face and get it all cleaned up. 75 zippers, man. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Oh no, because that's
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with the sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.